Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Good evening, everyone, to the Plan Commission meeting for April 21st, 2026. The first thing is to call to the order to this meeting. Can we do roll call?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deanna Schmidt. I'm just going to run through roll call. Mayor Julia Radafrada.
Here.
Alder Gabriela Gerhardt.
Here.
Stephen Heller.
Here.
Shelley Malowski.
Here.
Jason Rice is absent with excuse. Josh Knackert.
Here.
And Carol Poole.
Here. Okay, so we have quorum. So the next is the approval of the minutes. So do I need a motion? Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
One moment. Wasn't Carol here last?
Yes. I was here for the March meeting, and it shows Jason Rice as being present and absent for that meeting in the minutes.
Okay, so just so that I'm clear, Jason was absent, and then Carol was present.
Correct.
We will make that change.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the minutes from the March 17, 2026 meeting with those minor changes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next we move to item 3, is public appearance for non-agenda item. Do we have anyone on the room for non-agenda items? Seeing none, we move to item 4, is the agenda review. Any question, comment for the commissioners? None, so we move to item 5, is agenda item. So we are going to start with the first public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2026-009 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0126, adopting and recommending the Spring 2026 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Plan 4.3 Future Land Use Plan Map for properties located off or ski lane on Section 35, City of Fitchburg in Dane County, Wisconsin, Lots 1 and 3 of SCSM 15797 from business to medium-high density residential. So I am open the public hearing, and we have a couple of people that they want to speak, and I want to call you to the microphone. You have 3 minutes, and I'm going to call Tom Jacobs. I'm going to call first Cheyenne Shank, wishes to speak in support. Okay, come in. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, my name is Shailene Shank. I am speaking on behalf of the owners of Ski Lane Homeowners Association, an adjacent land and structure of 12 units. We overlook the land of 2724 Ski Lane, the property that is being proposed to rezone as residential. We are in support of the rezoning from commercial to residential. However, we do not support the plan for medium to high density housing development, but rather for more medium to low density so that there is more green space around them. This will fall in line with Fitchburg's commitment to our neighborhood as a priority, healthy neighborhood, a commitment to improving health outcomes in our neighborhood. We request that the old trees, the green space, which have proven essential to the health of our neighborhood, be preserved.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Next is Tom Jacobs and Javier Neira. So they are the developer for this project.
Good evening.
For the
I'm Tom Jacobs. This is Javier Nero. We are partners wanting to build approximately 18 houses on property located over on Ski Lane. I've owned these properties for 13 years. It's pretty much sat empty. There's a couple of houses on it already. We have met with the mayor and 4 alders, and we are proposing an affordable housing project to allow for actual ownership of houses there, you know, with the assistance of the city and the county. So we've met with Deanna and her staff. We submitted a few renditions of our plan, and she supplied us with comments. We've made changes to the plan, and you know, pretty much are settling on approximately 18 units or so. We are still working with the city, naturally with fire and engineering, and we expect that a lot of the details will fall into place. But the concept is, you know, we've been through several renditions, and it's pretty much what we're doing. We're also looking for affordable housing assistance possibility through the city and county, and we've met with officials, and they're very enthusiastic about the project. They're, you know, awaiting the outcome of this to see that we can get it back to residential. It actually was residential when I owned it under the town of Madison, but it changed when it went to the city. And I don't really have a great rendition of this or one that's visible, but if you drive down Ski Lane, the immediate property to the north is kind of high density residential, and the immediate property to the south is high density residential. It was changed to business, I think, probably to accommodate the Novation Center, but it's really separated out. Right to the east is Novation Center property, and they, oh good, thanks. They, there's a big ridge separating our property, so it's actually, we're separated from it. There's a nice row of trees in the back, and you know, we're very aware of the need to preserve the trees. There's a great line of trees along the north side of our property and along the backside, separating us from the church, which used to be a trampoline center. So if you drive, it just looks like it's supposed to be residential. In any event, our goal is to build approximately 18 units to have ownership availability for people that are owning it. We don't want to be landlords. We actually want to place people in these properties. We've really done this first step of doing the minor amendment to have it go back to residential. We've had a neighborhood meeting with Charlene and a number of other people who have voiced support. I think they'd rather see it stay empty because it makes a nice park. If you'd like to buy it and have it be a park, I'm open to that. But, you know, it's just that it's really kind of an infill type of project at this point because everything's developed all the way around it. And it seems like the most likely use would be residential. And in connection with the need for affordable housing, we seem to hit so many points on the major, you know, the criteria for changing a minor amendment to the comprehensive plan. It seems to meet all those points and criteria that were set forth. And I can run through those, but I think, you know, I've gone over that with Deanna. I think we're in good shape.
Okay. So
anything to add, Javier?
we can ask questions later when Diana presents the project to us, but yes, you can stay there for question, okay?
Okay.
So anyone else want to wishes to speak in this public hearing? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and then we are moving to a staff report.
Good evening, everyone. The parcels that we are looking at are along Ski Lane. There's 3 parcels here. The request is to change the future land use on 2 of the parcels, this one and then also this one. These lands are also governed by the Southdale Neighborhood Plan that was approved in 2009. As part of that Southdale Neighborhood Plan, these lands were identified as commercial employment district. The uses envisioned included retail, office, light industrial, hotel, residential. The goals of the employment commercial area district was to attract businesses, to diversify the tax base, provide employment, shopping, and educational opportunities for the residents. The Southdale plan recommended creating pedestrian-friendly gateway to the neighborhood with pleasing architecture and interactions at the street level. So, of course, the economy has changed significantly since 2009. Office building is just no longer desirable. The applicant proposes to construct affordable housing, as was mentioned. The site plan depicts about 19 homes at this point. Staff notes that the minor comprehensive plan amendment does not commit the applicant to a specific site plan that was submitted here in your packet. The site plan is just provided as kind of a starting point with the recognition that staff and the applicant would work forward to develop a site plan that would be workable in the future. The current comprehensive plan cites the need for housing located in walkable neighborhoods orientated to transit and commercial connectivity. The comprehensive plan also cites the need for infill housing, a diversity of housing types. The proposal does increase housing near transit on Rimrock and provides ownership opportunities in the neighborhood, which is desirable. The proposal does vary from the Southdale neighborhood plan that was mentioned above. The scale of the housing, 1 to 2 stories and approximately 9 to 15 dwelling units per acre, does seem to be a reasonable transition between the older multifamily and condos to the north, which are considered high-density residential, and then Artisan Village to the south. Staff did make a series of comments to the applicant suggesting important refinements needed to the site plan and the proposal, which can be worked out at a later date. The applicant did note that there was a neighborhood meeting held on April 14th at the VFW, and the notes were just that residential was preferred over commercial development. So staff, with the minor comp plan amendments, staff doesn't make a specific recommendation. We just asked that Plan Commission consider both the Plan Commission resolution PCR 0126 and then also provide a recommendation to Council on Ordinance 2026 09. So we would just ask for a motion and a vote on both of those. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm open for questions. Okay, Carol.
I just have a couple of real quick questions. So just for, with regard to the speaker that spoke in the public hearing, at the time that this would come in, we would do a tree survey, right, to make sure that any specimen trees would be preserved. And then does this lock us into 12, or can it still be within the 9 to 15 range by doing this amendment?
With this amendment, you would be locked into the 9 to 15 is what you would be. We would be changing the future land use. It would remain 9 to 15. Mm-hmm. 9 to 15 dwelling units per acre. That is what would be allowable under medium-high density residential future land use.
What we were actually thinking was it would be more of a PDD SIP approach, kind of changing the rules. The lot is a very unusual shape.
Yeah.
And, you can't have things facing the front, so we expect that there'll be a few variances there. But that's actually our request, is the PDD SIP, within the medium high density parameters.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about zoning later.
Yeah.
Tonight's not the zoning discussion, and certainly a PDD could be an option, but we also have the new zoning ordinance for urban high density that might work too.
Okay, any other question? Shelley?
So if it were medium density, what would be the maximum amount of units?
5 to 9. 5 to 9.
I don't know how big this is. That's per acre. I mean,
Yes, so
Do you know what
let
that
me get
would
my
equate to?
glasses. I'm so terrible. We have a total about 1.6 acres that we're working with here.
so 9.5, okay. Okay. And then just one other question. So obviously, to me, the affordable owner-occupied is what would drive what I like about this proposal. If we change the land use to medium-high, I assume legally we could not require that if they walked away, we couldn't require that it not be a rental, right?
No, that's something that we do not have a tool in our zoning and our regulatory tools to do.
Okay.
Certainly, if there was city funding involved, there could be some negotiations on that side of things.
Yeah, I think anytime we can get affordable ownership into the city is a good thing. It's a really challenging type of project to bring through, and that's why I think the medium high density is a good choice for that. Our medium high, when you put the word high in there, it's just by function of it's the fact that it's between our medium and our high density, but it's not really that high density. It's still, we're talking about like townhomes, twin homes, at most, but most of these looks like are still single family detached units. Is that what you're currently looking at?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's still fairly, like, I think it has a low density feel, even though I think people, that's what people say. I think when they mean low density, I think they usually mean single family detached often, or maybe twin homes at most. So my other question is, like, I think there was a note in the memo about needing to front the street, but I know there are models of housing that we really haven't explored in the city, like cottage courts, where not every unit does need to front the streets. Is that something that we could consider in this situation, Deanna?
Yeah, I certainly. I think what the challenge here is we want to make sure that at least some of the units have a street frontage that engages the street, that has a presence at the street. Do all the units? Of course not. Yep. So it's just kind of working on, working through the site planning piece. For example, this, and we've already communicated this with Tom, but the trash and the parking right on the street frontage is not appropriate.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense then. It's really about creating the feel along the street front and not about the units itself.
Yep.
Because I do think that cottage court model has been effective in a lot of other communities to create some affordability and increase more density. So, but yeah, there's obviously a lot more steps, and for those watching, this is just the first of many steps.
Oh, yeah.
In order to make this possible, which we all know. But I think I like the concept, and I think this is a good use for. We just recently created the medium high density category, and I think this is a good use case for that.
I have a question, because between the two parcels there is another parcel, and that one make this seem kind of odd. Can you explain
I sold that actually to Gerardo Diaz and his family about 3 or 4 years ago. It's a residence. He wants us to stay residential. He's in support of us, but he doesn't really want to sign anything. He's afraid his taxes are going to go up, and he's a little bit just, I think, shy in that regard. But and Javier knows him well, but basically, he's not opposing us. He's planning to stay and live there. So it would, like I said, it was actually residential before the city took over, and he just wants it to keep that way.
If there is any way that you can connect the two parcels at the back, I know that you have to go through his property, but you know what I mean, like to have another.
Actually, the way that we drew our plans, we've got that opportunity. You can see that we've advanced to him. Well, you could put another unit like in the back of his property, and just run the road and connect, that sort of thing. And he's just very reluctant to. Sign anything except for he does want it to stay residential, and really for this first step, like Deanna was saying, there's still a lot of work to do, roll up our sleeves, but we just need this first step so we can proceed with the project.
Any other question, comments? No? Okay, so someone need to move this.
I'll move approval of PCR 0126 with the, there's no, yeah.
The ordinance and the PCR.
Just the ordinance, yeah.
Second.
So we are approving the ordinance
Oh,
and the
PCR first, right?
PCR?
Yeah, I'd like to do two separate motions.
Two separate, okay. Okay, so all those in favor of PCR 0126 say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries.
I'll move
Next one.
approval of ordinance 2026-009.
Second.
All those in favor of ordinance 2026-009 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so next we move to to item 5B. This another, I want to open another public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2026-010 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR-0226, adopting and recommending the Spring 2026 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending the MAP 4.3 Future Land Use Plan map for property located off Lacey Road and Fahey Glen in Section 15, the City of Fitchburg in Dane County, Wisconsin, from MU, that is mixed use, and low density residential to medium high density residential. So we are going from mixed use, low density residential to medium high density residential. Okay, so we have a couple of people here that wish to speak. I'm going to be calling you. We have several, and we have online too, isn't it? Yes. Okay. I will call Patrick Cheney. He wishes to speak in support of this.
I'm speaking in support as the elected president of the East Fitchburg Neighborhood Association, which represents properties along Lacey Road as well as a wider area. And in discussions with members, I have heard support for this proposal. I have not heard any objections or opposition to this. This is in the part of the North McGaw Park neighborhood master plan for development from 20 years ago, and I was an appointed member of that steering committee that created this plan. I would suggest that at that point the zoning was set because the crossing condos to the east and Waterford Glen to the west were in their middle, somewhere in the middle of their stages of development and construction, and everything else around here was open fields, so it probably looked like this was the appropriate zoning at that time, trying to look 20 years or so into the future. Now, 20 years later, the crossing is built out, Waterford Glen is built out, the Fitchburg Ridge townhomes immediately to the east within this same block is in the middle of their construction, and the property immediately to the south of here is in a proposal for development. The city now has a stronger interest in providing more housing opportunities, so this would be reasonable to increase the zoning level here. And at this level that's being proposed right here, the density level is, as I understand it, one number less than the Fitchburg Ridge townhomes, which are immediately to the east. So this now looks like the appropriate zoning level and density level for this property.
Thank you, Patrick. Karen Lawrence, she wishes to register only in support. John Stefan, I don't know, he wishes to speak, I don't know, in support, in opposition, I don't know.
Hello, folks. I should tell you I'm hearing impaired and I have no idea what anybody's saying. But I am here, I live on Fahey Glen, just off the roundabout, and I am totally opposed to changing the zoning to medium-high density for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a traffic problem there. And I have discussed that with the mayor before, and increasing something to medium-high density is going to affect the traffic in a negative way. Also, when I bought my house there, it was low-density residential, and I don't want medium-high density zoning in my backyard. So I am absolutely against it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will call Scott Wilson, who wishes to speak in opposition.
You guys want to restart? There we go. All right, so I also live in the same neighborhood, the Fahey Field, or the Waterford Glen neighborhood along Ballyduff. I'm hearing a lot of this medium-high density residential being used to get affordable housing, owner-occupied housing, which I'd say I agree with. What I would say here is we currently have the property directly to the east that has 13 townhomes that were built on it almost 2.5 years ago now. As of the meeting for the neighborhood, 3 of those were still sitting unsold of the 13. So I would say owner occupied. I don't feel there's actually a need for that in that area. They aren't selling. Beyond that, the developer that is being used, I believe, has developed similar buildings in the Terravesa neighborhood, all of which are rentals. They have an attached property management company that they would like to roll all these into and have them as rentals. I personally would like to see this medium density, owner-occupied townhomes. I think that would be great. But medium-high density, these are 13-foot wide units with, 12, 14 in a building that I just don't see a need for in the community. I don't see them selling. So that's what I have. Working on a petition with other neighborhood individuals. People I have talked to actually are opposed in my neighborhood to this due to traffic, drainage, and other issues. But that's my main one. I don't think medium-high density is correct here. I think medium density with townhomes makes a lot more sense. And then somehow, as you mentioned, once you change this, we can't verify these will be owner-occupied. And I would ask the developer, currently they have the same buildings in Terravesa, if they delivered those under the same model, because those are not owner-occupied. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. And also we have online Sam and Kay Cook. Where is Sam Cook? Sam? Hello, Sam? Nope. Okay, so I will close the public hearing. Moving to staff report.
I would just like to mention that Sam Cook did register in support of the project, even though we couldn't quite get him online. So, okay. So the subject property is currently an outlot at the corner, at the roundabout of Lacey and Fahey Glen. The parcel is currently vacant with some private gardens. To the north, Promega owns lands across Lacey Road. These lands are designated as industrial commercial in the future land use map. I guess I can pull that up for you. Directly to the east of the site is the proposed hive that came before you a couple months ago. The Plan Commission recently approved a conditional use for the hive to allow small events and a cafe. Also to the west is the Lacey Ridge townhomes that are fronting on Notre Dame. A total of 37 townhomes, 3 stories tall, are proposed. Currently, as noted before, 13 have been constructed. To the south is the proposed Irish 1855 single-family residential development. Plan Commission recently approved a rezone and a preliminary plat for 25 single-family lots to the south under low to medium density residential zoning. The neighborhood to the development to the west is Waterford Glen subdivision. The current future land use is mixed use on the north, but it's limited to 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre. And then low density to the south of the subject parcel is also 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre. This parcel is part of, as was previously mentioned, part of the McGaw Park Neighborhood Plan that was adopted in 2009. It designates the northern portion of the site for mixed use and the southern portion for residential. In the McGaw Neighborhood Plan, mixed-use areas were envisioned to include office, residential uses. Along Lacey, the plan anticipated neighborhood serving commercial uses such as coffee shop, personal services, a small grocery, restaurant, boutique retail. The residential areas were intended to be low density with an average of approximately 5 dwelling units per acre. The applicant proposes a residential community of 64 townhomes, which are likely to be rental, in my understanding. The proposed density would be approximately 14.5 dwelling units per acre, which is consistent with the medium-high density residential category, which once again is 9 to 15. Similar to what was noted above, the site plan is not intended to be something that we're moving towards adoption or this is what is going to be built. This is just for a reference to kind of give some sense of how things might lay out. As Plan Commission considers the future land use change that would increase the density or dwelling units, it might be helpful to have a sample of housing densities in Fitchburg. Therefore, staff, at the back end of your memo in the packet, you'll find some slides that lay out some different examples of density. So, for example, the Lacey Ridge townhomes, the 3 stories just to the east, are just over 13 dwelling units per acre. Irish 1855 subdivision to the south would be about 2.5 dwelling units per acre, including the roads and the stormwater. The crossing condominiums that are farther to the east, actually these condominiums here, which the future land use is actually is actually high density, but because of the large green spaces and the big stormwater ponds, the overall dwelling units per acre is actually only about 4 dwelling units per acre. And then Waterford Glen, which was mentioned, the subdivision to the west, is about 3.6 dwelling units per acre. Staff did suggest several additional considerations if this particular site plan was to move forward. In particular, looking at how these townhomes could integrate with the townhomes to the east with the Lacey Ridge, maybe creating a more interesting open space between the two townhome developments. Thinking about creating more of a backyard space. These are single family. We probably need to look at how we can create more backyard space that would be more transitional to the single family. And then finally, the future plans will need to address garbage collection, deliveries, visitor wayfinding, landscaping. So once again, this is just kind of a starting point. Staff does request action on both the Plan Commission resolution, PCR 0226, and then also the Common Council ordinance 2026-010. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you. Okay. Questions, comments?
I guess I'll start.
Okay.
I understand we need housing, and I understand we have to have a symbiotic relationship with developers, and that they make their decisions based upon their economics. But the neighborhood plan has this as mixed use. Our future land use map has it as mixed use. I understand things change, but still, I think the direction or the policy desire of the city is to have more walkable and less car-centric neighborhoods. So, and it's out of scale with much in the neighborhood. So I am concerned about rezoning this out of mixed use because I think there's a good purpose to that. And I'd be interested in, well, discussion about that. I mean, I'm concerned about doing this.
Because of the mix, we are
Right,
going
I
to
think
miss the mixed use, and you would like to see more retail there?
Coffee shops or something. Obviously, we're starting it with the Hive, and I mean, I think it'd be good to have more self-contained, walkable neighborhoods rather than, you know, a lot of housing that gets into cars and has to go out of the neighborhood in order to get their needs met, and this would be infill, and I'm just interested because there was a lot of thought that mixed use would be a good idea here. I do know things change, and maybe it is time for a change here, but I'd be curious what everybody else thinks.
Okay, thank you.
While we're on that topic,
Okay,
actually, can
Steven,
I
okay.
go on with the mixed use? Because I don't understand the 2 to 5 dwelling units maximum with mixed use. How, like, I'm picturing mixed use being something on the first floor and then 3 or 4 stories of residential above that. Wouldn't that be much higher than this? Or is that just done under PDD, or am I, like, I'm missing something here?
No, I think that originally when the future land use was created here, the thinking was this would not be a big apartment complex. It wouldn't be the mixed use like we see in Terra Vesa with commercial over, but it might be a lower scale, maybe a couple of rear apartments tied to a coffee shop or something like that. That was
or
what
small offices,
or small offices. Yeah, that's what
like
was
spaces
envisioned.
for retail. Okay. No.
There was a specific, so you didn't ask, and I didn't give it to you, but this was the reason I showed it.
No.
Public comment?
I don't know.
What is your name?
Maybe, depending on this, I've been gone, I haven't seen the picture.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Wes Weigel.
Okay, so you.
I said, based on what I see, what I have questions, yes, I did.
Okay, can you? Yeah, we have it. Yeah, you can come to the microphone and yeah. You have your 3 minutes.
Sorry if I didn't.
No, fine. It was our.
Stay with it. But anyway, I was in Florida at the last meeting where I heard about, and I saw the picture that was shown up there of the 64 units. And prior to that, I didn't know the Hive was accepted because I had heard at that meeting, they said, well, we're going to push things back. You know, you talked about some green space behind us, because I live on Quarry Hill, at the corner of Quarry Hill and Fahey Glen. And, you know, the extension of that building was almost up to the road. And the last thing we need is Lacey Road around Cyene and Highway 14, the high density in that area. You know, we don't need that. And I guess the 13 units that were built well over 2 years ago that still have places for sale is an indication that it's just not right to stick high, well, and those happen to be 3 levels, which, you know, is another story. You know, somebody would have to walk up to their bedroom, to the main floor, and then up another level. So it's certainly not for seniors. But anyway, 64 units with the Hive being at the front, there's just not enough space. Or the density in that space is way too high. You know, for the Waterford Glen homeowners, I'm the treasurer on the Homeowners Association, and I just think it's nuts. You know, when I first heard about the 64 units, when they said they were going to maybe push back, up, and then now I see the Hive is up there, there's no way that there's enough room for 64 units. And so that's just what I'm saying. I don't want to see it. I want to keep our residential backyards looking fantastic. We're going to miss the deer, the coyote, and everything else we see back there. The wild turkeys have already left.
But anyway, that's just a part of it, and I know the city's got to move forward, and, but I oppose the density change for that area completely.
Okay, thank you. Gabriel.
I am trying to understand though, and I kind of repeating a little bit what Stephen asked, but like with the mixed use, that is essentially like an apartment building, right? If you're doing residential over business, like.
I don't think that's what they envisioned.
Okay.
I think.
But that would be by zoning would allow for that.
Yeah, I think instead, like I said, they might have envisioned a small apartment building, or like sometimes you see in older small towns, they might have a little coffee shop and an office, but then a couple apartments in the back.
I think the mixed use, this language that was 20 years ago is not the same that what with mixed use now, you know? So this is what I always see it.
Yeah, I think the struggle here is that this is the tough time when you're doing a minor comp plan amendment where you're changing future land use without enough detail. You're trying to make a decision with a site plan that's like very in early phases that has a lot more like editing to do, basically. So, and obviously this is not anywhere near, this is just like a concept to try to propose the change to medium high density. And I also think but I guess for the people in the audience too, Deanna, can you talk about the type of, like what medium high density is? Because I think when you get down to low density, you're talking about big lots that for homes that if they're being built new are going to be $800,000, $1 million, right? No, am I wrong about that? And medium density is still fairly low density. What does medium high density look like in reality?
Yeah, so medium density in our world is the 5 to 9. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to roll up here. So Uptown Hills, which is, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Medium high is 9 to 15. And Uptown Hills, which is built off of Haight Farm, with 24 townhomes and some multifamily, that is about 13 dwelling units per acre. Mm. So that's kind of that scale. I'm sorry, I can't take. Terra Vesa, if you include the roads and the alleys, it's about 6 dwelling units per acre. If you take out the roads, it's about 9 dwelling units acre. So small lots, single family, will get you medium high. Terra Vesa second edition, this has some T4, some T5. If you don't include the roads here, it's about 15.6 dwelling units per acre. So here we get those townhomes and some single family. And then I also counted, this developer has also built these 2 12-unit buildings of the townhomes for rent. And that is included in here. So that gives you kind of the scale of what we're talking about. Then we jump up quite a bit in Fitchburg. Once we get into the Avante multifamily, we jump up to more like in the 30s dwelling units per acre.
But that one are multifamily, so.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Carol has a question too.
Okay.
Say that I was on Plan Commission when that was designated. And the reason that it was designated goes to Shelley's point, just so that you guys know, which was the thought was that was when we did the Addison. So we're adding a ton of apartments. This was supposed to be developed as smart code. We were anticipating build out around this being smart code. And the plan is that we wanted to save space where we could have a daycare or a restaurant or something, and if you wanted to have an 8-unit or a 4-unit with a business use in the building, you could do that. And I think that was kind of what we envisioned, because you're right. I mean, back in, this was probably 10 years ago, at least maybe 15, they were talking about, the great big mixed-use buildings that had tons of apartments with retail down below. The developers were having a horrible time renting those spaces, and a lot of them were vacant. And it had kind of fallen out of favor. So when we were looking at mixed use, I think, Mayor, you said it too, as we were looking at things like can we have a dentist office or a daycare or a coffee shop and, kind of these neighborhood uses instead of this giant sea of dense housing to add some sort of a break. So that was that's my recollection of what the history of this was. And I'm not advocating either way at this point, but I wanted to have you understand why that was done that way. I wonder about 64 units, though, too. I wonder what that's going to look like.
So my question to you, Diana, when you in your conversation with the developer, have you talked about lower the density there? Like maybe 40 townhomes instead of 64?
And to be quite honest, no, we did not specifically talk about that. And I would just kind of caution a lot of times developers run into an issue of the cost in the land versus how many units they need to have in order to make the project work. Right? So.
Can I?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see you.
Yeah, okay. So, and then you need to fill out the form.
I'm sorry, I didn't even see you out there.
Can you introduce yourself, please, to the public?
So I'm Sherry Yu. I'm part of the AY Development Group, along with Ryan Wurst, another member of AY Development Group, and also the owner of Atera Design Homes. And I'm also the owner of the neighborhood coffee shop for Tatico. Shelly, if you heard about Tatico. So I definitely can answer some questions in terms of the mixed use and also the density, and along with the questions some residents might have. So yeah, so we can start with either questions. So number one, I think for mixed use, we pushed really, really hard for Terra Vista that it's a big neighborhood. We have almost anywhere between probably 2,000-3,000 of residents just in that neighborhood, not mentioned across the street in those Avante properties. The reality fact is that I did the coffee shop because that's what really all the residents want and the developer want. And we are on the survival line. I'm trying very, very hard to keep our door open, and we barely can afford our staff. And that's just a reality fact of small businesses. And those retails has been occupied. We make tremendous of effort in terms of keeping all the businesses alive and keep their price competitive. So I think in my opinion, I want to have a walkable neighborhood that we can walk to a coffee shop, and that's all the comments I've been getting. And I personally probably sold over 100 homes in Terra Vista neighborhood itself, and that's every time I heard about that. But the reality fact is people are not walking into the door of the coffee shop. Instead, they make their own coffee at home. It's just, raising cost in terms of our living expenses. I could picture this a little more prettier, but I think we're just talking about some reality here. And then about the density, I think with a proper design, this size would be able to accommodate about 60-ish units. We're not gonna try to come here and say, hey, these are all gonna be owner occupancy, because we know it's been very, very difficult in terms of housing expenses and affordability. And without some fundings and programs, we probably can not confidently saying these are all going to be affordable housing. What we're trying to do is, even we are building a rental property, we do take housing affordability into consideration. We try to make our property more competitive in terms of affordability. I think a lot of the times when we talk about affordability, we ignore the fact that not just home ownership is about affordability. Renting is also about affordability. And most of the renters that I'm dealing with, they mostly are young professionals. I had a large group of people that are residency doctors coming in town, mostly working working in UW Hospital and the school, and there are great assets that the city could have in terms of, the type of, occupations that we're calling for. And what our group has been doing is that we keep our rental price very competitive and we provide great services. And I think we're very proud that we serve a lot of people when they are not ready or they do not have the equity in terms of buying a home. And we're home builders, and we build many homes, and we try to help people find their permanent home. So what we are presenting to the city is also take into consideration of, people who cannot buy a home, but they also want to be a resident in the city of Fitchburg. And I think with all the amenities and infrastructure that the city has largely invested in, I think those people who are taking a possession as a renter should also be considered as part of our residents here. So I think we really need to broaden our vision in terms of affordable housing and the housing opportunities we're providing. So I did discuss with Deanna about many design features that we need to take into consideration about this, like a visitor parking, like a trash enclosure, and also how we can make a more smooth transitioning in between the single-family homes and the Lacy Ridge townhomes. We did take Lacy Ridge townhome into consideration, and that's part of the decision that had dictated that the rental direction. And we do offer a rent-to-own program for our rental residents. And as a matter of fact, we're closing a rental home April 23rd with one of our renters. So he's going to become one of our homeowners here in Fitchburg. So that's what I want to comment it back. And in terms of traffic, I'm not a traffic expert, but I have been doing some research in terms of what's the roundabout that is similar in Fitchburg, what's the surrounding densities, and I don't think this project would tentatively holding a negative impact on that, but our team can do more research in terms of the traffic study, and I think that's definitely can be part of the decision into our, if we were able to move forward into our future consideration. And I'm open to questions if, any of you have other questions.
Can I understand why on this map that we're seeing there's such a buffer to the north and the east? Why are the buildings so clustered kind of to the southwestern
This is just a very initial design, so I think our civil engineering was just trying to lay out something that possibly for its look. I think when we come to the design stage, a lot of the things is going to change, and we're going to make sure that we have nice buffers all the way around, and making sure it's, it's least impactful for the adjacent properties. So to answer your questions, I don't think they have take into consideration specifically. It's more of probably a placeholder for what they're having.
They used for stormwater as well as part of it. I think they wanted to leave a kind of a buffer area for stormwater, but things could definitely shift away from the neighborhood.
Okay.
Any other question, comments? The question, Sherry, for you is, I know that there is a cost associated to build this, and you need to make your numbers, make sense, break even and have a margin.
Yes.
So the 64 is because of that. Are you willing to reduce the number of units to find a balance or blend better with the rest of the neighborhood? Have you considered that?
We definitely did. I think it's more of, we do need to hit a certain number to make it work, and that's where we're asking for the medium high density. But whether it's going to turn out to be like a 55 or 64, I think we do need to take into consideration of the actual design, the stormwater, and the private drive. So I think a lot of the factors will play out, and I think we have been a very responsive developer in the city of Fitchburg with the many homes that we have built for for rental and for owner occupancy. So I definitely think we are proud to take full responsibility and consideration in making it a successful project.
So the other comment that I want to make is like this parcel has been empty for many years because every developer that is gonna try to buy to make this happen, they had to bring the density up, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
This is what it is.
Yeah, I think that this parcel has struggled because of the cost of the land versus the 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre.
It doesn't make sense,
Yeah, that's been a struggle.
Okay.
I have a question. Deanna, could you orient me a little bit better to this site versus the Hive versus Irish 1855?
Yep, we can. Okay. So I might just turn this off for right now. And I'm probably going to have to turn that off too. Turn off. So the parcel that we're looking at is this parcel right here. So Lacey, Fahey, Glen, the Hive with the conditional use is right here. And then the former Rudin property, historic district is right there. A couple years ago, you might remember, plan commissioners, we looked at a minor comp plan amendment to take this parcel to high density, if you might remember. And then the Lacey Ridge townhomes are built right here, but that development also includes this land parcel. And then 1855, the single family development of 25 homes is this parcel. And so Notre Dame would come through and connect, and then Quarry Hill Drive will come through and connect also. Does that kind of help?
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and Gabriel?
It was helpful to hear from you. Thank you for coming up. You have built really beautiful homes that people love to live in, so that's helpful to hear that you're behind this project. I think, like I said before, I mean, this is the very first step in many steps, and what we're seeing here is not what it's going to look like in the end. But I think we need more product like townhomes in this area, and I think it's valuable to see this project move forward. Obviously, there are a lot of steps between then and now, and neighborhood meetings and things of that nature. But I would be interested in moving this forward so we can see if we can make something like this work.
Okay, Shelley?
These are you're intending them to be rentals, right?
So we as a group, we offer like a rent option and we offer a rent to own option. So a lot of our renters, they will come to us and then they'll rent for a while and then they will buy from us. So we're a group, because we manage the different aspects of things, and we're happy if people want to take the ownership. We just felt like the economy might not allow us to commit to that, like completely to start with in order to get the project built out. But at any point of time, our group is more than welcome that people wanting to purchase them as condos.
But aren't there different building requirements for condos than maybe not for townhomes?
I think it's going to depend, probably not so different. I think it's going to depend how Sherry and her team manage the utilities and what that looks like.
We have separate meters, so they're all separate.
And honestly, because of the litigation in Wisconsin, it's easier to get a rental off the ground and then eventually turn it into condos, because otherwise you can't get a loan for the building. So some of this is also that we're coming up against the fact that people can't build condos right now. And so you can build a rental, you can start as a rental while getting the loan, while getting it off the ground. And then if you can do that later, you're selling individual units. And so the math is just different, the regulations are different. So this is also some of this, unfortunately, there has to be a transitional approach because condos are so hard to get the financing and the math for otherwise.
Right, yeah, I understand that. I thought there were different building requirements, but maybe not with a townhome.
As long as it's individual metering, basically. They have to be able to kind of cut that out as a freestand. So it sounds like they're doing that.
We did a project in Verona that's very similar situation that we have to establish as a rental community, And then what we did is that we did a lot condo for it so that the people can actually have their individual ownership. And Josh is 100% correct. I mean, I think there's no local banks that are going to finance a condo project like this. And I think that's part of the suffering that the Lacey Ridge Townhome are having, is that the way they have set up their project, it's very, very financially intense, not because it's not a good product. It's just when you build it out like that and then adding a lot of challenge for the financial burdens and the affordability. So people having hard time to buy it. And for us, a lot of people, they are just afraid to commit to home ownership because these, what we call like middle housing is going to be, for most of people, going to be their first home. So for first home, a lot of people had a lot of hesitance about, okay, now I'm buying this and what's it's going to shake like. And that's kind of what we're doing in Terra Vista, that we're actually giving them the opportunity to rent and to feel it out. And if they feel that's right, and then they'll end up buying. And as a matter of fact, I think Terra Vista was a community that has a lot of rental properties, but I think it only brings positive value to the properties in Terra Vista. If you look at like a homeowner in Terra Vista that was from phase 1, they're having a nice appreciation because there's this source of incoming people who had lived in the neighborhood, lived in the city, and end up liking it and end up buying a home there. So I don't envision this would be a negative impact in terms of the overall surrounding neighborhood. I understand that people can get opposed to it or sentimental about it, but that's our opinion.
Mayor, I want to point out, because we have a long agenda after this, but to me, at the end of the day, all of the stuff that we've talked about means nothing. We're actually here to look at whether or not we should change an ordinance from medium or mixed use and low to medium high.
Yeah.
Medium high, you've talked about, could it be down from the 60 some number? There is no reason to, because you could be at medium up to 40 units on this property. And so there's no reason to go down to 55 if I can get 64 on this one and be at medium high. So it is completely out of scale with everything else that's near it, when the closest thing to it is 13 dwelling units per. And so to me, it's a non-starter, and I think anything over medium is just not appropriate for this lot, especially when you say we are unable to financially, but yet the property immediately adjacent to it is going to do single-family owner-occupied.
Okay, so we are going to go to vote, okay, because,
First,
I need a motion, please.
I'll move approval of PCR 0226. It has to get a second.
I'll second.
Vote on it.
Who's second?
Josh?
Josh, okay. All those in favor of PCR 0226, say aye.
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 Who say aye? 2, a nay?
No.
No.
3, okay. Didn't fail. Okay, the next one.
I'll move approval of ordinance 2026-010.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of ordinance 2026-010, say aye.
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 Oppose?
No.
Nay.
Okay, it failed. Okay, it failed. Thank you. Okay, so next we have another public hearing and consideration of rezone RZ-2638-26, request by Barry Brunner, agent from Ragtag Ventures, Inc., to rezone property from PDD-GIP to PDD-SIP, that is a specific implementation plan, to allow for a mixed-use, multifamily, and commercial development on property associated with 2932 Fishhatchee Road. We have a couple of people here on this is 5C. We have 5C? Yes. So we have, no, this one is this one, isn't it? So we have Nate Hoyt. He wishes to speak and support. Oh, you're here. Okay, so go ahead. What is this?
Lovely to be here with you all again. Some of you have seen this come before the Plan Commission several times over the last 3 or 4 years. First is PDD. We did GIP approval, I believe, in 24. We were back with the City on a Hill Church next door when they did their SIP application for their expansion sort of last year, and we are finally before you with our actual plans for Bowman Plaza itself. We have been working on this project since Mike Zimmerman encouraged us to sort of first look at this property back in 2021. So it's been a long time sort of coming. For those of you who aren't familiar, there was some significant coordination between the Bowman Plaza property, the church to the north, but also Kelly's Markets to the south, and then with the city to be sure that we could figure out the infrastructure and the access, et cetera. This is a prominent location at the entry to Fitchburg along Fish Hatchery, and as part of the North Fish Hatchery visioning, we were encouraged and have supported with joy a process to bring a very kind of landmark building to Fitchburg. So this will be 6 stories, 7 stories, depending on how you count it. It's 5 stories of residential over 2 floors of parking. At the front, the commercial space, about 11,500 square feet, is almost 2 floors in height, so she'll have some very prominent sort of windows and space for some commercial sort of tenants. So we're excited to bring the building forward. It's ended up at about 278 units. Again, 11,500 square feet or so of commercial space. I can answer questions for later, but again, we're excited to finally bring this forward to you all.
Okay. I don't think that I have any other person who wishes to speak in this, so I'm going to close the public hearing, and we're moving to staff report.
Yeah, so thanks, Ned, for covering quite a bit of what we're going to discuss here in the memo. So the proposal, like Ned said, is for a 6-story, 278-unit mixed-use building with approximately 11,700 square feet of commercial space. The proposal came for PDD GIP approval in April 2024, and that proposal included the City on the Hill property, which gained its PDD SIP approval in August of last year. The existing site includes Bowman Plaza, which is currently a vacant single-story strip mall. The existing building would be demolished as part of the approval process for the City on the Hill PDD SIP. A shared access drive will provide connection to the stoplight-controlled intersection at Oshala and North Fish Hatchery. Included in that 278 market rate number of units, this development would include 16 studio, 191 bedroom, 58 2-bedroom, and 14 3-bedroom units. In addition, it would add common space amenities such as on-site management, community room, fitness center, and rooftop access with additional amenities for residents. The applicant notes that following the completion of the northern access drive and the new parking on the City of the Hill church site, the existing Bowman Plaza structure is planned for demolition in summer of 2026, with construction on this proposed development starting in fall 2026, completed by spring of 2028. The density for the residential portion of this development would be approximately 120 dwelling units per acre. Just to put that in context, the previously approved Avalon multifamily development was roughly 60 units per acre, and the largest approval in the past 10 years within the city of Fitchburg is the Addison at 83 dwelling units per acre. Covered that. The residential use would have a parking ratio of 1.1 stalls per unit, and following conversations with staff, the applicant has proposed 2 levels of parking with separate access. A parking area between the proposed building and the church does include 59 parking spaces that would be shared between the commercial spaces and the church. Staff does believe that the shared parking between the two will work well because of the greatest need for the church will be on Sunday mornings. Staff also notes that the existing transit line on North Fish Hatchery Road is planned to be improved to bus rapid transit, and construction on this portion of Fish Hatchery Road is scheduled to take place in spring of 2028 currently. This proposal provides bicycle parking consistent with prior approvals. The applicant did not provide a sign package with this PDD SIP zoning request. Unless an individual sign plan is reviewed and approved by Plan Commission and Council, the residential and commercial spaces would both need to follow Chapter 26 requirements. A concrete wall that currently exists along the west property line would need to be removed, and the area would be seeded or sodded in addition to a wood fence being installed. The applicant has submitted a traffic impact analysis, and the additional traffic proposed by this development is not expected to require significant public improvements. Finally, staff notes that this development requires Dane County approval of construction drawings and a Dane County right-of-way permit prior to full building permit. And as Ned noted, there is an existing and recorded agreement with Kelly's Market to the south, which will be modified once these plans are finally approved.
That's it? Okay.
Sorry, and staff does recommend approval of the rezone with 8 conditions and the ADR with 17 conditions listed.
Okay, thank you then. Okay, questions, comments? I have a question because I received an email from a resident about there are some apartments that they don't have windows.
All apartments have windows. It's a question about whether there are windows in the bedrooms. So sometimes in an apartment building, you have a unit that might have a bedroom and a living space on the outside wall.
Okay.
And in other units, you might have just a living room on the outside wall, but your bedroom might be on the inside.
Oh,
Code
okay.
provides that any bedroom has to meet certain standards, including fresh air and light and things like that. So we meet code for anything that is a bedroom. Just some of the bedrooms are interior bedrooms. They're not on the outside wall.
Okay. Any question, comments? Carol?
Just pursuant to that, is there a minimum amount of square feet of glass that have to be in an apartment, or can they have no windows at all? I'm just curious, because a lot of these inside corners of the L's look like there really isn't even room for a window.
I don't know that there is an official limit. Yeah, I can't imagine having a unit that had no windows. There are a couple of 3-bedroom units that we have on some of the interior corners. We did this at the Juniper Apartments, and we've called them dormitory-style units because they actually have 3 bedrooms that are on the inside, and the living room is on the outside, and so has access to a patio sort of deck. And they were some of the fastest units to rent in our experience, because you would end up with 3 people sharing the rent, and the rent for those interior units was typically lower than the units that were on the outside. For us as a developer, that interior corner space is harder to make units out of, so we designed this specifically to try and create that approach, and it's been well received for its price point. So we've got 2 stacks of those here in this building proposed for Bowman Plaza, based on the fact that it was well received at Juniper from a design perspective.
Thank you. I think sometimes people just need to hear that and understand that, that there are ventilation, requirements that have to be in there. There's lighting requirements. There's fire code requirements.
Yep.
For all of these things. Because it is kind of a different concept for a lot of us, but.
It is.
I
We'd be happy,
appreciate it.
again, anybody's got a concern about it or raised it, we'd be happy to kind of do a tour of some of those sort of units so people can actually see what it looks like.
No,
and
I
feels
saw
like.
one at the Juniper. So, yeah.
And
But
I appreciated you informing me on that with the Juniper project.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of people that don't understand that concept. So I just figured, since someone asked Julia, we should just have a little bit.
It's good. I have a very great team sort of at JLA Architects who basically keep me in line. Every time I propose something that's not going to pass code, they call me up short on it. So.
Yep.
No, I'm just really excited to see this project moving forward. Want to see that area replaced and turned into this great new building. So, looking forward to this.
Any other question, comments?
I also wanted to reiterate, I think the projects you bring are beautiful. The Juniper was gorgeous when I was happy that I was able to see that opening, and this design looks great. I love that there are some 3 bedrooms. Those are just more and more rare. I feel like I've seen so many projects that are just studios and 1 bedrooms, and I'm like, some people need more. So yeah, glad to see the 2 and the 3 bedrooms is great, and it looks beautiful. I love that you've worked it out with the church to have that shared parking. I think that's really innovative and important for this space in particular. But I do think this is really kind of kicking off what Fish Hatchery could become, because this is a really perfect place for us to have density in the city. And the fact that this is going to be one of our tallest buildings, I think is going to, or I guess it is going to be the tallest building in the city to date. Hopefully won't last for long, but this is a good place to put that. We're going to have bus rapid transit. We already have 15-minute service during the weekdays. Like this is a good place to put people. And I love that the parking, that a lot of that parking is inside the building. I think that's great, and it looks good. And I'm happy that we have some commercial space coming too, because that's, again, it's a good corridor for that. So thank you for bringing this project, and excited to see it move forward.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gabriela already said what I was planning to say. Okay. So let's.
I'll move approval of rezone R2638-26 with the 8 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
All those in favor of rezone 2638-26, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one is the.
I'll move approval of ADR Bowman Plaza with the 17 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
Second by Gabriela. All those in favor of the ADR, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. I have a final question. When we will start, the demolition of that building?
We're still trying to coordinate that with proper abatement and permitting and stuff like that. My guess is that it will be sometime in June.
Oh, okay.
Given that the fire department and police department are currently using the building for training, we're trying to give them as much notice as possible.
Okay.
We think they're trying to do some more severe demolition in the final week when they can. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, so next we are, there is another public hearing. I open public hearing and consideration of rezone 2639-26 is a request by Dwayne Helwig, agent from Grace Hospice Care Holding, Inc., to rezone property from PDD-GIP to PDD-SIP to allow for assisted living and memory care facility at 5395 East Sherwood Parkway along East Sherwood Parkway and Fayhill Glen. So here is Dwayne. Hi.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Dwayne Hellwig, architect with Community Living Solutions, hired by Grace for the project. I'm joined virtually by a Grace representative, direct representative, Jesse Pfluger. He's here to answer questions if you have any questions about a Grace specifically. JP Cullen's representative for the contractor is Adam Esteler, and Kevin Yeska from JSD is representing civil design and landscape architecture. So hopefully we got everybody covered here tonight if you have any specific questions. And I don't want to take a lot of time. I can just basically say we appreciate the opportunity to be here. And what we requested was a 2-phased approach to the SIP amendment process. Back when we were here in January with the general plan approval, we've undergone some pretty significant design changes since then, which is really slowing down the Dementia Village half of the project, the part that we're really excited about. And so we had to kind of go back to the drawing boards. But Grace is very motivated, and so is the public, to have something happen here. So we're trying to stick to the same timeline to get the Dementia Village project done on the same timeline, which would be completion by next fall of 27. And so we were asking that we can push up the hospice side of the approval process. We can get that started first, and then we'll come back this fall if all approvals go well and start the Dementia Village part of it. I don't want to steal Dan's thunder if he's got a nice description for the property and the project going on here. So if you want to go for it, go ahead. And we're just here for questions.
I need to close the public hearing and then we move to staff. Okay. Okay, Dan.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, so this project, the PDD GIP, most recently came before you and was amended in January of 2026, but was originally approved in 2004 and further amended in 2020. So as Dwayne noted, the rezone request for PDD SIP will allow for additions and renovations for the reconfiguration of the hospice care area of their facility, and which is the western portion. Phase 1 includes reconfiguration of the hospice area, adult daycare operations. Phase 2, as noted previously, which is the eastern portion of the campus, will require an amendment to the PDD SIP with a new architectural design review. Staff notes that this PDD SIP amendment will not qualify for a minor PDD amendment. The applicant also is requesting ADR approval of Phase 1 and the certified survey map approval to join the two existing parcels on the campus into one parcel. This CSM was a condition of the PDD GIP, which was approved in January. So these plans are consistent with what was presented to and approved by Plan Commission previously. Phase 1 includes the remaining hospice facilities and grief support and education. The reconfigured hospice area will be downsized from 50 to 28 hospice beds. Staff notes that the number of hospice beds following the downsizing slightly differs from the PDD GIP approval, as the applicant has asked that the number of beds in the hospice care facility be revised from the original 27 to 28 beds, given that one of the 27 rooms is planned to accommodate 2 separate patients. So generally, the development schedule for the proposed project is as follows. May 2026, starting Phase 1 construction. Fall 2026, completing Phase 1 construction. And also starting Phase 2 construction, with fall 2027 being the targeted date for the completion of the Dementia Village, also known as Phase 2. The proposed building addition has been designed to closely match the existing structure in both architectural style and exterior materials. The proposed retaining walls will be similar in height as the existing boulder retaining wall in the south yard of A. Grace. And above ground utility equipment is only anticipated in the forthcoming Phase 2 application. No additional exterior lighting is proposed for Phase 1. If you can recall back to January, there was a discussion of tree removal on site for Phase 1, roughly 20 trees with that over 8-inch diameter or greater are planned for removal. It is anticipated that another 66 are going to be removed for Phase 2. The larger native trees south of the planned disturbed area will not be removed, and the applicant is working with the Fitchburg Center on an existing tree survey and protection plan. Staff requests that this is included in Phase 2's rezone application. Phase 2 will be to create the Dementia Village. The village will have 8 houses, a clubhouse, supporting facilities, gardens, and walks. Phase 2 will, as I stated previously, require an amendment to the PDD SIP and a new architectural design review submittal. Staff does recommend approval of the rezone with the 9 conditions outlined, the certified survey map with 9 conditions, and the architectural design review with the 13 conditions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, questions, comments?
Or do you want to go?
Yeah?
I just,
We're talking about a tree survey for Phase 2. Don't we need one for Phase 1?
Yeah, they say here the phase.
Technically, we only require a tree survey for preliminary plats by code. It's highly recommended, and I'm sure Dwayne's going to get us something just as soon as he can. But at this point, we don't have the tree survey completed.
Yeah,
But the phase 2 is for the dementia village, right? So phase 1 is the building, I'll say, the hospice building, and you're taking trees out, 20 trees. Did you have any kind of a tree survey?
Yeah, we have it. We had the survey completed already, and we have an arborist on site the week of May 4th to begin that process. We've been working pretty closely with Fitchburg Center, who they do require the tree survey.
Okay, our conditions talk about phase 2, so I was
So it's both
wondering what
phases.
happened to phase 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's there. Yep.
will you share that with the city? Because I would like to see that tree inventory.
Absolutely, that's our plan.
Because we're talking about 80 trees to be removed.
Right.
It's a lot. Okay.
I'm trying to understand just like what exactly is phase 1? Are you just demoing part of the building, basically?
Yeah, and I should explain that a little bit more carefully. In a nutshell, phase 1 is what you see on screen here. Yeah. So it's the west end of their facility, which is their hospice care end. So we're adding onto 3 wings there to create 9 more beds so we can get to a count of 28 when all is said and done. So basically, the west end of the campus, phase 1, is just the hospice care facility.
Okay, so you're adding those darker blue areas.
Correct. Yep.
So I don't understand how you go from. I think I just need to like explain the project more because it's like you're going from 50 beds to 28 beds, but the project is just to add on to the building?
Right now, when you look at the whole footprint here, that's 50 beds.
So
if we go
here's the original. Let me go back up, I guess. This is the current building footprint across the 2 lots. And so this project that's before you this evening is only on this portion of the site.
So basically moving the hospice beds from where they currently are to those 3 wings?
Yeah, we look at the whole width here. We have 50 beds across that whole width.
Yeah.
So we're roughly demoing almost more than half of them.
This is going away.
And then we needed to add some more to get to 28 on the west end side. So if we'll say we're demoing 30 beds on the east end side, that only leaves us with 20. So we're adding 8 to 9 more.
Okay, so that's why the trees have to come down because you're actually adding.
Because we're going to the backyard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And so the demo of that building is part of phase 2?
The demo of the east end of campus is part of phase 2, correct. Yeah, right now that's where all the hospice residents are located.
Okay. So, and then since we have a Grace staff on the line, it would be, I think we've asked this question a couple times, but haven't been able to get it answered. We've heard about shortages of hospice beds in the region, and so going from 50 to 28 is just a little incongruent from what I've heard from people, and I've had people ask me that as well. Can the representative talk a little bit about that?
Jesse, if you have any information on as far as like actual census numbers and market analysis numbers on why the rationale is that we can go from 50 to 28 beds.
I don't have the actual analysis that was done, but what I was told from leadership was that the analysis that was done that recommended that a 28 bed hospice would align with the demand as well as what we're able to staff from a hospice side of the house. I can certainly get more information, more specific information, but that was done before I was brought into the project. So don't know the exact specifics.
And Gabriela, they do a lot of home care hospice. You know, it's like.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's your business. You know, that's the business you run. I assume that you understand that. I get questions about it, and I don't actually know I haven't really gotten an answer about it. People are just like, well, how are you reducing the number of beds when there's not enough in-home hospice care available? And I get asked that question, and I don't have the answer to it yet, I guess.
Yeah. My general understanding is there's more people getting hospice in home, so the inpatient hospice care is going down. I believe Grace's Janesville facility may be closed, so that's kind of indicative of the market.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of the 50 beds we have now, it's not like they're all full all the time. So there are a lot of vacant beds from the demand and what we're able to staff. So
that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, if you'd like, I mean, we can ask for a written statement from a Grace too, if that would help you.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm more curious and I get the question, so.
Sure.
Okay, so any other question, comments? Here none, can you start moving there?
I'll move approval of rezone RZ-2639-26 with the 9 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
Okay, second for Carol.
Can I make a friendly amendment that number 8 say existing tree survey and protection plan be provided with the, rather than not just refer to phase 2?
So you want to add?
I mean, they're doing a tree survey for phase 1. I think we would want to see it. So instead of just referencing the tree survey for phase 2, we should just have a tree survey.
So where is?
Okay, I think I understand. The tree survey and tree protection plan will be provided with phase 2, but to clarify, it will include both phase 1 and phase 2.
Okay.
So we can certainly make an amendment to include phase 1 and phase 2.
Okay, thank you.
With the phase 2 rezone application. So let me restate that.
Okay, yeah, because
we will amend number 8 of the rezones, of the rezone to say existing tree survey and protection plan to include phase 1 and 2, and to be provided with phase 2 rezone application.
Okay, so
Did I
that
get
one.
you?
So which one? Which number? Oh,
Right,
not
but then
8.
is it too
Okay.
late?
Where is this one?
Right,
Now that you said it.
When are
but-
you going to incorporate the findings of the tree survey into phase 1? I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, so the tree survey is done. That was done a while ago. Now we're going through the tree preservation analysis stage.
Okay.
And that's what's starting with an on-site walkthrough. It's kind of started already, but the on-site walkthrough is in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we expect to have that done before we're here at the next meeting.
Okay.
Well before.
I don't know if we can officially ask for this. I would say if the city could get that as soon as possible, just so that we are aware of what's happening and that that's been done and it's on the record, I think that'd be helpful.
Okay.
I have a question. Is Anna Healy will be part of this too or no?
Oh, sure. As soon as we have something, we will definitely share it with our city forester.
Okay.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't even say provided with phase 2. Can't we just say existing tree survey and protection plan to be provided?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm
Because
a
then we
bigger
could
fan
get
of
it,
Yep.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Just strike
Okay.
with phase 2 rezone application.
Okay. Okay. So
I'll move approval of rezone RZ 2639-26 with 9 conditions with edits made to condition number 8.
okay.
Second.
All those in favor of the rezone 2638-26 with the recommendation by Plan Commission and for number 8, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I'll move approval of certified survey map CS-2640-26 with the 9 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the certified map 2640-26 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I'll move approval of ADR Grace Phase 1 with the 13 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
Any question, comments? Here none. All those in favor of the ADR say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 1 second now. I want to know where I am. So we are in. Okay. Number 5H. Oh my Lord. Okay, so this is another public hearing. So I open the public hearing and consideration of rezone RZ 264126, request by Corey Frank, agent from Wingra Real Estate LLC, to rezone property from PDD-GIP to PDD-CIP to allow for a multifamily residential development on part of Jamestown Quarry Outlot number 3. And we have, who we have here? Corey Frank. Corey Frank, okay. He wishes to speak if we have any question, and he's the developer.
Corey Frank with CF Real Estate. You've seen us in here quite a few times for this specific project here. Just a little summary. The plan you see now is the SIP finalized site plan and building plans for the project. This would be the second multifamily building in the Jamestown Quarry redevelopment project. The site plan you see here today is very, very similar in footprint, size, and location to what you've seen in the past with a conceptual plan for the minor comp plan amendment, the CDP, the GIP, and now we're at the SIP and ADR. So over the last few months, we've been refining the final plan set, which in reality, it's been a much longer process than that, with the goal in mind of coming up with the best site building layout for this particular site, which is very difficult site to work with due to the nature of the grades and the fact that it's a former quarry and fill site. One of the main goals we've had from the start was having a substantial buffer between at the north lot line between the building and the existing residential to the north. We feel we came up with the absolute best case scenario for any development on this parcel with that in mind. And setback was also a priority, so we have that now finalized. The zoning minimum is 60 feet. 120 was recommended for any commercial uses. From the start, we've been with the goal of meeting that 120 minimum, even though this is technically not commercial. We ended up with the closest point to the north setback at the northeast corner at 125 feet, and at the northwest corner we're 155 feet. So we're 2 to 2.5 times the minimum setback per zoning, and we're above the goal of 120 feet. You'll see that stormwater is now finalized. With how difficult the site was, there was talks on potentially needing to send stormwater south of the property line and incorporate it to the future retail development to the south. We were able to come up with a layout that allows for stormwater to be handled fully within the site. We also were able to implement now our outdoor amenity space, which is currently planned to be shared between this building and the Phase 1 building, which is nearing completion. This features a fenced-in dog park area, a small playground area, and a outdoor pool. In general, Building 1 was a major success, and Phase 1 opened April 1st with full building completion anticipated July 1st. Demand has exceeded the already high expectations, so we're looking to move forward with a second building down the short-term road. And here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Corey. So I will close the public hearing and move to a staff report.
Okay, let's see. What is proposed? The second building would be 290 market rate residential units consisting of 178 one-bedrooms and 92 two-bedrooms and 23 bedrooms. The site plan, as you can see, similar to the first building, is structured around an interior parking lot, a parking ramp, a parking structure with the apartments on the outside. And you can just see from this grading plan how difficult this site is. This is the grading plan showing the contour lines. This is a very tall berm, and these are slopes on either side. As mentioned, there would be outdoor amenities, including a playground, a pool. The pool is located right here. The playground and dog park would be located in this general vicinity that could be shared with both buildings. Recreational space is also proposed on top of the parking ramp and included in the preliminary plans. Staff does note that there has been discussions about the transition. This would be the commercial site. If you recall in the approved PDD GIP, this would be a commercial development that might have something like a JT Maxx or something like that in this area. And this is a challenging transition because this area would be the backside shipping, garbage collection side of the commercial development, alongside this major new apartment complex. So we've worked with Corey, and we're hopeful that as the commercial development comes forward, that we can develop a reasonable screen through here. What is shown here is actually a fire access road that is required for fire access along that area. Let's see if I can find something. You said page 47, maybe. I don't know if this is these are the new ones or.
That's 4:1 scale, so that's not really a good visual.
Okay, here. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this will be this is a lot to take in, but this is a cross-section view through the site to give you kind of an understanding of how challenging of a site this is. This is the cross-section, so the building would be here. There's a sidewalk here. As I mentioned, there's the fire access lane right here. And this is the berm that extends up, and then the top of the berm here. And then it falls back down and then transitions here into the existing single family to the north. So that kind of gives you a sense of how tall that berm is compared to a 4-story apartment building. It's tremendous. Yes. Another view a little bit farther to the south, you can still see that tall berm and how the residential fits relative to that. And then just one more. As you get farther to the south, the grades on the single-family residential to the north fall off, so the berm is also falling. But I think I just point this out. It is an extremely challenging site here to work with to make all the pieces fit. They are proposing plantings and landscaping on the berm, which is going to be really important to create an interesting and space, and it's hard to find. I'm having trouble finding that too yet. There's a lot of stuff in the plans. Okay, so staff also notes that a 10-foot multi-use path along Fitchburg Road would be required. Same thing as along with the first building. We talked about the height of the berm, and then talked about that transition to the south. So I guess I'll end there and take any questions or comments. But staff does recommend approval of the rezone with the 10 conditions and then approval of the ADR with the 16 conditions.
Okay, I have a question. When you explain that between the building and the commercial in the middle. You mentioned that a screen. What type of a screen do you envision, Corey?
So a lot of it will be dependent upon the retail plans to the south that come forward. Jeff Huntley's working on the commercial development. He's actually in attendance here tonight. But they're working on their plans, and down the short-term road will be submitting an SIP. Jeff has stated that he'll be working with us and the city in terms of making sure we have enough of a buffer between the residential and commercial. The current preliminary plans put the retail building at closest 70 feet to the multifamily building, which isn't a small distance. And additionally, the retail building is sitting a good 7 or 8 feet lower than the first floor elevation of the apartment building. So the height will help with the buffer, and then in addition, there'll need to be a small retaining wall and some form of fence, in addition to more than likely some screening of mechanicals and so on. Nothing that we see as a major hurdle, and it would be part of the plans for the retail development to the south.
And what about the noise?
So that's another request that we're going to have as far as, in particular, delivery hours. That's our biggest concern.
Okay.
But it's been expressed to us that that the retail development will be able to work with us. So the businesses aren't open overnight, I don't believe. So it's more so the delivery hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there plans to address it via soundproofing on that side of the building at all?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you could do a little bit with the type of fencing, but I mean, in general, noise travels pretty good. But any new construction, between all the insulation, the walls, and the quality of the windows, also does a real good job with sound.
So the commercial building is actually lower in elevation than the
multifamily? Grade steps down from our north lot line as you go further to the south all the way to McKee. So with the retail building being to the south, it's a step lower than the multifamily building.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to go. I drove by this weekend, and you can see the. Yeah,
it's hard to tell with all the material there that needs to get hauled off prior to development, but yeah, it's a pretty substantial grade change. So.
Okay.
Just a comment for you, Deanna, for that visualization of the height. If you can be prepared to show that at council.
I certainly
next
can.
week. I think that that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Yep. We can do that.
But the overall, the design looks nice, and I know this is a challenging site, but appreciate the work to get this worked out and this correct, because it's. But you all build a beautiful building, and obviously you wouldn't be building if there wasn't the demand for it. So
yeah.
And it's nice. The pool, the dog park, the park for the residents in both buildings is also a really nice amenity, and it's not publicly dedicated, right? This is a private facility?
Yeah, okay. It's all private.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
So when you open the first building, if you can invite us to go and take a look how the building look like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can do that anytime.
Okay,
so,
yeah, thank you.
Yep, we have half the building is fully complete, and the other half is just working on finishing touches.
Just a quick question, because it's going to drive me nuts if I don't ask. What's the dotted line on these cross sections? Is that the topography today?
It represents the existing grade, yep.
Thanks.
The topography grade, yep. That's good. Without the fill, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the existing grade. The existing grade about 13, 14 months ago. So, yeah, before the additional. I mean, it's all fill, but the additional fill piles that were placed there. So.
Okay. Any other question, comment?
I'll move to approve rezone request RZ 2641-26 with the 10 conditions noted by staff.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of rezone, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I move to approve architectural design review for Jamestown Quarry multifamily development with the 16 conditions noted by staff.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the ADR, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And that's it, isn't it? Okay. Okay, thank you, Corey. Okay, so next we are on which one? 5J? J. This is our final plat, FP-2637-26, request by GSD Professional Services, agent from Fitchburg Lands, LLC, and the Hills of Cortland Ridge to approve a final plat to allow for the subdivision of 5 lots, including 2 buildable lots in the Terravesa neighborhood. Okay, so 1 second. We have Andrew Algen to answer question. He is represented this is the Sexta group.
Also online, he's the civil
Oh,
consultant.
Kevin Yesta, yeah. And Colton Darwin.
Also have in the audience members of Illuminous here to answer any
Okay.
operational questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Andrew.
I will turn it over to Kevin to,
Oh, where is, okay. Kevin? Okay.
he's online.
Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. As Andrew mentioned, Colton Darwin from our surveying team is online as well. So this is actually just a final plat that you have seen before, but for new members of the commission, this is for the Sesta Senior Living Facility. We are here before you again with nearly the exact same plat as about a year and a half ago, maybe even longer, 2 years. So we have, it has since expired, that final plat approval, and we are here simply as a formality to start pushing this through and get it recorded or get it pushed off to DOA and soon recorded for a hopeful fall 2026 groundbreaking for a very exciting project to kind of fill out the Terravesa neighborhood. So that is kind of my overview in a nutshell, but if you have any specifics on the plat itself, happy to answer.
Okay, thank you. So we are going to move to a staff report first.
Okay, so you might recall, or this might be new for some of you, that the Sesta is being developed by Luminous, and that would include, the project will include 124 senior independent living apartments, plus 3 guest suites. The apartments will be 1 and 2 bedroom. In addition, they will also include the development of 40 assisted living units and 12 memory care units. The amenities include underground parking, a bistro cafe, gardens, libraries, an art studio, salon, movie theater, and a fitness center. Applicant is requesting approval of the replat of these lots from the original Terravesa plat. And they would be taking all of lots 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and outlot 16, which was a former alley, and then part of outlot 17 proposed, and then creating a new proposed outlot 1 and 3 that were portions of outlot 16 that would be used as private alleys to access the 2 new lots. So they would be creating lot 1 and lot 2. And then outlot 3 and outlot 1 are the private alleys. Outlot 2 will remain as private open civic space. The development is currently zoned Smart Code Special District 3. Special District 3 was created to facilitate the development of this particular project, a senior housing campus. The lot configurations comply with the Special District 3, with a waiver will be required in the resolution of approval to allow a slightly wider Lot 1 width. So that will be just another clause in the resolution for approval of this final plat. Staff notes that a specific number of parking spaces, we do not have required parking in Smart Code, but the Terra Vista neighborhood currently does have parking challenges. We do receive complaints regularly. The development proposes 165 parking spaces on site, including 125 underground and 140 surface spaces. The 125 underground parking spaces are dedicated to the independent living apartments plus 3 guest suites. This is generally consistent with our previous multifamily developments that Fitchburg has approved. The majority of the assisted living and memory care residents are not expected to drive, and peak operations are expected to include 12 to 15 employees and 5 to 15 visitors at any given time during a particular day. So based on the anticipated staffing, visitor activity, and residents, staff believes that, and the applicant believes that the parking provided should be sufficient for their needs. A subdivision improvement agreement will be needed for the public improvements. That will be something that will go to the Board of Public Works and Council. The project will return to Plan Commission for architectural design review. Most Smart Code does not come back to Plan Commission for architectural design review, but all of our special district projects, they do come to you. So the project will also need architectural Article 5 approval, which they're working towards. And once staff is comfortable where we are on the Article 5, we will bring the architectural design review approval for you. At that point, next month, it is expected that Plan Commission will also review and consider another community-based residential facility exception. You might remember that the last one we did was for Trilogy. The proposed CESTA with their 40 assisted living and 12 memory care units fall under those requirements of community-based residential facilities. So this project also needs an exception. In this case, it needs 2 exceptions, one for location within 2,500 feet of another community-based residential facility, which is Trilogy, that we approved in the syncopation development. And then also we are over, ever so slightly, the 1% of the Alder District population. And so staff does recommend approval of the final plat with one extra condition that I missed. So I recommend approval with the 15 conditions, and I've placed the additional condition up on the screen for you. In this, I'll explain what this means. With the original alley that was through the middle of this site was dedicated as a private alley, but also public easement. So anytime lands are dedicated as public easement and they're no longer going to be used as a public utility easement, then we need to have releases from all the major utilities. And so that's what my additional condition here is: provide recorded public utility releases from MG&E, AT&T, Charter, and TDS for that outlot. So I will take any questions with that.
Okay.
One small question. What is a guest suite?
A guest suite is a studio-style apartment that is there. If somebody's interested in the community, they can come, spend a couple nights, and see if they like it. Or if somebody has visitors coming in, they can rent the guest suite and have family stay there also.
So you can kind of just try it out
Yeah.
and see if they
Try
like
it out or visit grandma.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Any other question? This one is for is a commercial or is a tax exempt organization?
I have the CEO, tax exempt.
Oh, tax exempt.
It's a non-for-profit organization.
So my question to you is, because tax exempt organization, they don't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But this type of facility will require a lot of call for services.
Mm-hmm.
So are you willing to, to pay for the pilot?
Yeah, potentially we'd like to have a...
Could you come up? Sorry.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Matt Motley, CEO for Illuminous. Yes, we have in the past, when we brought this before the city, we've talked about entering into some type of a negotiated pilot payment, which we would be open to. And it's consistent with our other communities throughout the state where we do pay some type of a pilot.
Okay, thank you, because you understand that, your type of facility will require service for calls and then...
Yeah.
Because of the type of the entity, the facility, and then...
Yes. Yep. So we're open to having discussions about that.
Okay, thank you. Any other question, comments? No?
What are these rent for? I mean, if you're a not-for-profit, are these more on the more affordable end, or what?
These are, so it's these units are what we call entry or life lease, and so they're a Type C life lease, and so they're the individuals buy the units, and then they get 90% of that buy-in amount gets refunded to them upon resale of the unit, and then they pay a monthly fee.
So how, I want to understand the business concept here. So how is this a tax exempt when you have a commercial component here?
Yeah, we're a faith-based nonprofit organization, so it is tax exempt. Senior housing, and then there's the CBRF. But for the independent living, it's a life lease component. So there's individuals buy their units at a market rate, and then there's a monthly fee.
And what kind of rates are like
on
from
the
other
monthly
units?
Fee?
Well, a monthly fee, but also like what are units in other of your facilities?
The average entrance fee is $547,000. And 90% of that's refunded upon resale of their unit. And then the monthly fees are somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 a month for the independent living. On the assisted living, they go, and it depends on an individual's level of care, but it'd be somewhere between $7,000 and $11,000 a month, depending on a person's level of care.
Is the 90% also refundable to the estate if they die, or just resale?
Yes. Okay. Yep. So when they enter into their contract, there's a beneficiary component to it, and they can designate who they want the beneficiaries to be.
I try to understand.
I'm happy to hear that you're interested in exploring pilot payment. And that's for those that don't know, it's payment in lieu of taxes. Deanna, is that something that we can put in a condition?
We cannot require.
Because it's
we cannot require pilot.
Awesome.
Right.
It has to be completely voluntary.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. Well, we thank you for doing that, and happy to hear that you do it with other communities. That it inspires confidence.
Yes.
Carol?
One won't turn on. There we go. And that is kind of a similar business model to Oakwood and Attic Angels. They all have that life lease component that's part of their business. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I mean, this is
right.
nothing unique.
No,
this is how
Attic
these facilities
Angels,
work.
Capital Lakes and Oakwood all have the exact same. Their entrance fee, they're all Type A or Type C contracts, just like this would be.
So what are the amenities that you're providing? Because it's like, the entry fee is kind of like a high.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very amenity-rich community. There's 2 different dining venues. There's a more formal dining, there's more of a bistro-style dining. There's salon services, there's game rooms, there's arts and craft rooms, there's 2 outdoor courtyards. There is a wellness center, multiple multi-purpose activity space.
And there are 2 bedroom, most of them?
There are, it's a combination of 1 and 2 bedroom.
Okay. Okay. Any other question, comments?
I will move approval of final plat FP 263726 with the 15 conditions outlined by staff.
Where we are? Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the final plat, 263726, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carried. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add, I forgot to ask, if you move into the CBRF or memory care, do you get some of the refund of that 547?
If an individual is living in the independent living and they move into assisted living, they would get their refund upon the resale of their independent living unit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you. So we are now on 5K. It's a minor PDD amendment for the Highfield Reserve. Request for Brian Monson, agent from Veridian's Homes, to obtain a minor PDD modification to allow for the clarification and minor edits to the PDD SIP zoning on property associated with the Highfield Reserve neighborhood. Do we have anyone from?
I don't think
Okay.
there's anyone online.
No.
We just have Brian. Did we already?
Is Brian? Oh, Brian.
In person, I know.
Sorry, Brian.
And I think we also do have Matt Brink online from Free Homes.
I don't have it here, but is there? Okay, it's not in my list. Okay, bye. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Well, thank you again. Here, happy to answer any questions for the minor amendment. Just to effectively, this is a language clarification. We want to thank staff for working with us to help identify some language that addresses staff's concerns at the same time as gives predictability for future implementation of the houses. And just to clarify in that, we're not changing any of the setbacks. We're not changing the garage placement. We're just looking at helping to give some guidelines as to how to address the architectural review in the future for future applications. And I think Deanna has got pulled up here some examples of, on the top side, of some houses that would fall into this definition. Largely, we're looking at the one-story elevations as to how to make sure that the garage architecturally blends into the overall character of the neighborhood. To the south, you can see some of the existing homes that kind of illustrate what we were really, the intent of this language at the start was to try to make sure that the garage is recessed from the front of the house, and that will still be the case moving forward. But happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Okay, so because when I was reading the material, I have some question because I didn't understand what we were doing here. I have a question. The last picture on your right. So in that case, the garage is kind of like in the front.
The top right?
No, lower.
No. So all the lower rights are existing houses that are not underneath this.
Okay.
And those would not meet the standards of this neighborhood because they have the garages that are in front of the facade.
Yeah.
In our PDs, we always require the garage recessed back from the front of the garage to really downplay that garage element, make sure the house is pulled forward.
Yeah.
What this language does is just clarifies for the single-story elements when we have the roof lines between the garage and the house, wanting to make sure we have visibility to the doors, the overall percentage of the width of the lot. And so this gives us just 4 different techniques as Veridian is proposing future projects that they could then address the concerns staff had raised during really around the architectural review of the individual houses. So this way there's just a clarification of the expectations so that Veridian can make sure that we're meeting staff's goals at the same time as giving predictability for them as they design and sell houses. One of the biggest challenges of that is that when they get a contract in place, the timeline between contract to turning over the keys is very efficient. And so this is intended to try to help some of that review at the front end of those building permits and just give clarity moving forward for the designs.
Okay. So
I think that Brian summed that up very well. What we're doing is we're taking a small section in the existing PDD, specifically the garages, set back a minimum to assure that 2 feet from the front side of the house to ensure that the garage doors do not dominate the building facade, and we're putting something a little more solid and quantifiable to that with the 4 bullet points. At the bottom of the page are the first 3. So the PDD will read, once again, the garages will be set back a minimum from of 2 feet from the closest front facade element of the house. In addition, all front facades will use 3 of the following architectural features to minimize the appearance of the garage. So of the 4, they can use 3, gable end or dormer. So that's what you're seeing on these here, those gable ends. No garage may be greater than 40% of the total lot width at the front of the setback. Garage doors will have windows, and you can see that several of these have windows here too. And then covered front porch, clearly visible door. So it's just really important so that it's very easy to see where the front door is and a porch.
What is the number 1? I don't understand. What is a gable end or dormer? What is that?
These are gable ends right here, and this is a dormer, actually, that little guy up there.
Oh.
So it's just an architectural feature.
Oh, you want a window there too? Okay.
Well, it's just to have that so that you're not seeing just garage.
I know, yeah. Oh, okay.
So staff, it was great.
Okay.
We worked through the language changes. It should make all of our lives much easier in reviewing the next buildings. So staff just recommends approval of this PDD amendment. There's no conditions.
Okay, thank you. Any question, comments?
I move approval of minor PDD amendment for Highfield Reserve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minor amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, bye, Brian. Okay, so next we are moving to item 5L, is that ADR for the Seminole Pool, 5948 Schumann Drive, request by Architecture and Planning LLC, agent for the Seminole Pool Association, to obtain architectural design review approval to allow for the renovation of the existing neighborhood pool on property associated with 5948 Schumann Drive. Okay, do you have your...
I don't have one.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I'm not on here. So Katie will be doing all the talking. Yep.
What is your name?
I'm Matt Gross. Yes, yep, we met. I'm pool president, so.
Yeah, okay, Matt. Okay, so Katie McDonald is online, and Tim Lithole also, and Carlene Hanson. Okay, so, hi Katie. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here tonight. This is a new ADR submittal for Seminole Pool. You would have seen this site in September of 2024 with a larger planned development at this time, and we are coming back with a smaller scale redevelopment of just the pool vessels at this point in time. So we are calling this phase 1 of the new development. In this case, the existing 3 tennis courts, the parking lot, and the bathhouse will all remain on the site as they currently exist. The Seminole Pool Association is looking at replacing their existing pool vessel due to a need for increased number of lap lanes for their swimmers, and because they're experiencing a significant number of failures in both the pool vessel itself and the mechanical systems. So as a part of this project, the existing wading pool will remain, and the existing mechanical building, which is the one that's the kind of darker brown color just south of the pool vessels, will also remain. We will be doing a remodel on that existing mechanical building. We'll be raising the roof line by 2 feet to fit a new filter system inside and replacing the roof on it. So as a part of this project, there will be no increase in membership. It is simply an upgrade to their existing aquatic center.
Okay, Diana?
Actually, Dan's going to take this one.
Oh, Dan, okay.
Yeah, so thanks, Katie. You summed that up pretty well. I'll just add some additional notes here from staff. So, yes, as stated previously, this property was granted ADR approval by Plan Commission in September 2024 for a larger scale project, which is now going to be broken up into 2 phases. The property has an existing conditional use for the pool, but any substantial improvements may require a new conditional use and ADR approvals. So this is a change in scope from the request in 2024. The applicant notes that this request keeps the existing tennis courts, and building placement does not create any significant changes to the parking lot configuration. This phase includes, as noted, replacing the existing lap pool with a new pool that contains 8 lap lanes, a dive well, and a shallow lesson and exercise area, and the surrounding concrete deck. Majority of the landscape material on site will remain following the renovation, and any trees removed as part of this project will be replaced with new shade or evergreen trees. Staff has informed the applicant that a multi-use path on Schumann Drive shall be installed at the time of the next parking lot renovation and/or the new building construction. Also included in your memo, staff wanted to include Wisconsin state statutes that outline the lighting requirements for outdoor pools. The existing light poles are being relocated to meet the minimum pool deck lighting. Outside of the pool deck lighting, existing lighting on the site is not compliant with the city's dark sky ordinance, and any future renovations would need to ensure that the new lighting is compliant with that ordinance. Staff has yet to review a photometric plan of the site, and we would require a photometric plan and cut sheets for new lighting fixtures. The applicant has noted to staff that they're working to obtain these. Phase 1 is planned for starting in fall of 2026 and completing in next spring. And the applicant also notes that Phase 2 would either be an interior remodel or replacement of the existing bathhouse. This would require separate ADR approval and must remain in compliance with the existing conditional use permit. With all that said, staff does recommend approval of the ADR with the 15 conditions outlined.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? No? Okay. Here now.
I'll move approval of the ADR Seminole Pool with the 15 conditions noted by staff.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the ADR say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, thank you. Bye, Katie.
Yeah, do public hearing. There's nobody here.
For what? Public hearing? Okay,
Yeah,
what is it?
for my 2 ordinances.
Okay, so next we are moving to 5M, is another public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2026-0-7, zoning ordinance amendment approving rezoning properties to conform to the adopted farmland preservation plan and map. There's no one here.
And there's no one online.
No one online, so I close the public hearing and we move to a staff report.
I will just, might not have seen the email from this morning, but there was an email. Staff did receive one written public comment from Bowman Farms regarding this ordinance, ordinance 2026-07. And in this public statement, Mr. Bowman is requesting that his 2 Bowman parcels owned by Bowman Farms would not be rezoned from AX to AT. Staff has proposed to rezone from AX to AT. So what is this?
What is AT to X?
Yeah.
Can you explain that for all
Yep.
of us? from
Okay,
the
so
public?
the city of Fitchburg has 3 agricultural zoning districts. The first one is AX, which is exclusive agriculture, and that zoning district is also your next ordinance. It's the updates to that zoning district is also your next ordinance. Exclusive ag, otherwise known as AX, is our farmland preservation zoning district that is compliant with state regulations for farmland preservation. And so that means that landowners, farmers that are zoned AX, exclusive ag, and also are mapped officially as farmland preservation may qualify for state tax credits. And so what is happening at this point, the city is due, well, we have been for 2 years, to recertify our farmland preservation zoning ordinance, or AX. We're up for recertification. So that's why item on your agenda, number N, 5N, is that update to that zoning ordinance. And in order to get recertification, we have to make sure that our farmland preservation map, all those parcels that are zoned as farmland preservation or green on this map, also are zoned AX.
Okay, what is the other one? You said there is a XT. What is that one?
Okay, so I jumped ahead. So we have 2 other agricultural zoning districts, AT, which is agricultural transition, is a zoning district that has exactly the same permitted uses, conditional uses, setbacks. Everything is exactly the same with one exception. They are not in the farmland preservation map. So there are some parcels that cannot be on the farmland preservation map because they may develop within 20 years. So you cannot, a parcel that is expected to be developed within 20 years cannot be on our farmland preservation map. The state won't allow it. The state won't give you any tax credits.
And I assume, because my other question about, since we are looking at the comp plan revision now, and we need to discuss if we are going to move the service urban area south,
or the FUDAs,
or the FUDA, if we put all of these parcel to X, then
actually what we're doing with this zoning ordinance is taking parcels out of AX.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. To align, these are all parcels that are not mapped as farmland preservation on our official map. This is our official map.
Oh, this is the
This is our official farmland preservation map that has been adopted by Dane County and certified by the state. You all passed this late last year in 2025.
So how is the new one is going to look like?
We're not passing a new one at this point. We will have to make some minor changes to this and bring forward some minor changes, but at this point, we're not expecting.
So this is how it's going to look like?
Essentially.
So are all of the plats that you're talking about right now going from AX to AT are white on the current map?
Yes.
What about the light green?
The light green, there's a distinction here. The light green, the dark green are all farmland preservation and eligible for the tax credits, except light green are in a FUDA, and those will be developed, we expect, in about 20 years.
It's a neighborhood plan now.
Yes, that's in the neighborhood plan now.
Okay.
And then the dark green is longer term. It's not expected at this point to develop within the next 30 years.
But I have a question. So when we revise the comp plan and we create new FUDAs in the future,
yes,
can we add
We're
some
going
of
to
the...
have to change this map. We'll have to change this map if we adopt new FUDAs. Recently, we've been changing this
Okay.
map every year.
Yeah, I can, yeah. Okay, no, I want...
But right now, the thing that's in front of us would literally not change this map. This is
No,
just
we're not
cleaning up.
changing this map.
This is cleaning up AX that is not actually eligible to be AX.
what is Andy Bowman concern?
Okay. So Andy Bowman, these two parcels, they are in the McGaw neighborhood plan. And back in 2023, when staff was updating the farmland preservation map, at the time there was some discussion that these parcels might develop relatively soon. That seems to have changed over the intervening years. There was some talk back in 2023 that development might be happening, so within the 20 years, so we pulled it out of the farmland preservation map back in 2023. And it was approved, Plan Commission, Ag and Rural Council approved. Today, the Bowman family are interested in keeping it agriculture, so he would like to keep it AX. And actually, Ag and Rural amended this ordinance to pull out those two parcels for Bowman so that they will remain AX. So what that means is staff is going to have to go back and put them back into the farmland preservation map. Otherwise, we can't get recertified by the state.
Well, but we can, at the end of the day, the council will decide what to do
At
with
the end
this.
of the day, council does decide.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I can just jump in here, the reason that was done was, well, it's not entirely clear why the Bowmans wanted to be AX versus AT, because everything stays the same for them, but I
Yeah.
think it maybe psychologically they wanted AX because they're saying they're not going to develop it. And it doesn't impact the city in any way other than the staff have to go in and make those green. So the thinking was if the landowner asks for it to be AX, it doesn't really impact the city at all. We can do whatever we want we can make future plans. It's not going to affect future plans. Give them the AX. And there is the precedent because we have done that with Stoneman. Even though they're in neighborhood plans, their property remains AX. There's a precedent also to keep it the way we've done it, but it's not like this is wholly out of whole cloth to keep it as or to put it back into AX rather than AT. Right, Deanna? Did I get that right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you're right. At the end of the day, in order for anyone to use the state tax credit, the farmland preservation tax credits, our parcels zoned AX, which is our exclusive ag, has to match exactly our parcels of our farmland preservation. So that it just has to be that way, otherwise we can't certify.
Do we know if that land's currently being actively farmed?
Yeah, I think the Bowmans don't, they lease it out.
So it is actually being used for production.
Yeah. So, I spent a whole lot of time talking about Bowman, but we these are the quarry lands that we would be rezoning them from AX to AT. There's some smaller parcels that O'Brien has along Seminole, and then also some utility lands that really don't belong in AX at all. And then the two big school parcels, this is the Oregon ISD parcel, and this is the Verona ISD parcel.
Oh, the school.
Yeah, the school parcels. Those have been long out of the farmland preservation. And then there's a small handful of parcels in Greenfield that are currently zoned AX, but that really should be zoned residential. Some of these parcels are actually owned by the city, and these parcels would actually just be rezoned to RR. The orange ones would be rezoned to RL. And then there's one small parcel down here that clearly does not meet the requirements of AX at all, but it's zoned AX right now. It's a residential parcel that we would be rezoning to rural residential. So that's the extent of the rezoning. And like I said, the intention of the rezoning is to just align the farmland preservation map to actual AX, exclusive ag zoning.
I'm sorry, maybe I missed the answer. So is the Bowman Farms property being farmed? Is it being used as a farm?
I believe so, but let me just go and double check. I'm gonna go just pull it up on the aerial.
Because ultimately, like, if they don't want to sell it to develop it, it would not sell, right? It wouldn't develop because that has to be.
Yeah, if they don't want to sell, yeah. So they do have this in agricultural fields. So these are the two parcels in question. So this is a high field reserve. Irish Fields multifamily is right here.
That one could be like an organic growth, those parcels, because you have residential on the west, residential on the east in the future.
And it is in the McGaw neighborhood plan. Yeah. At some point, West Fahey Glen would come through. And, in the long-term plans actually link in somehow, kind of across here. And then these roads would come down.
So with that request, they're saying that they don't want to sell the land to develop in the next 20 years, essentially?
Yeah, that's what their intention is.
Okay.
But things can change. They can change their mind.
They can. They could change their mind tomorrow.
But my question is...
But it would be illegal, right?
Can we put this parcel on the future FUDA when we do the comp plan?
This is already in a FUDA.
Oh, this is already?
This is in a FUDA.
Okay.
Yeah, these parcels are. This one is not.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I understand what you're...
You know what I mean?
We can take parcels in and out of farmland preservation. The city can take parcels in and out of farmland.
Yeah, so it doesn't really, if they don't want it, it seems like why would we? Do you have any issue with us changing it like the way that Ag and Rural changed it?
Maybe they don't want to lose the tax credit.
They're not getting it right now.
No?
Because they're not on the farmland preservation map right now.
Oh, maybe they want the tax
credit. So, I mean, they're not using the tax credit right now. They can't.
So why? I don't get it.
Well, and they seem not to object when we made them AT in 2023.
We haven't ever made them AT. Their zoning is AX.
Oh, it is AX.
We took them
we were
off
going
the
to
farmland preservation.
Okay, I'm sorry. They didn't seem to object then, and I'm not sure any of us, or I don't know why they care right now, but they do care. And there's,
Okay, so...
So what do we want from this ordinance? Do we need to actually change something from what's proposed here? Or what's in the ordinance, I should say?
I believe the ordinance is fine unless you would like to agree with Ag and Rural to take these two parcels out of the rezone. So Ag and Rural took these two parcels out of the ordinance to rezone, and what that meant was that they just stay AX. And then what that means is staff has to put them back on the farmland preservation map so we can get certified.
Well, if the council approve that.
Yeah, if that, yes, you're right, if the council approves that, yeah.
Okay, so can someone move this the way it is?
I'll move approval of ordinance 2026-0-07 with support for the two plat as an amendment. Sorry, said as amended by Ag and Rural. Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Stephen?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I am against. So, okay. So next one is a public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2026-0-8, amending Chapter 22 of the Fitchburg Code of Ordinance by repealing and recreating Chapter 22, Article V, Division A, 2AX, Exclusive Agricultural District, Section 22-481, to 22-484, inclusive, and repealing and recreating Chapter 22, Article 5, Division 4, A is a Small Lot Agricultural District, Section 22-520, and a conditional uses, and amending Chapter 22, Article 7, Division 2, Administration and enforcement of Section 22-651 definitions. Okay, what is this?
Okay, so once again,
this is a public hearing.
It is.
I open the public hearing and I am closing the public hearing.
No public comments on this particular item. This is part of our recertification. Our zoning ordinance, our AX, our exclusive agricultural district, needs to be recertified every 10 years by the state in order for our farmers to qualify for those tax credits. So staff has used this opportunity, and our ordinance, I should be clear, our ordinance was already certified. Of course, there's been some changes over the years, so we want to align with those changes. But it also was an opportunity for staff to make some updates and some clarifications in the ordinances. And so we're also proposing a handful of minor changes even in AS zoning, our small lot agriculture. So the first page is just some kind of cleanup things. Political subdivision will just say city, referring back to the correct statutes. This one I want to spend just a minute on here. We, outside of our urban service area, in our rural areas, we limit the amount of rural development. And the tools that we use for that is the rural development criteria, rural residential development criteria, our RRDC. That is something that is referred to in our comp plan. And but I wanted to also refer to that here in our code so that it refers back. So there's some tie back. So that's what that is doing here. It's just referring back to our rural residential development criteria as in the comp plan. I've always kind of felt this was a bit of a whole. The comp plan is a very, very important tool, but without some mention of it in our zoning code, I felt like I was sometimes on some shaky ground. So that's what that's doing. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. These are just kind of some cleanup, also in line with the state requirements. Just kind of cleanup stuff is more, there's no fundamental changes. One of the things that Ag and Rural have expressed concern over the years is with new single-family, new residents, new farm residents, there hasn't ever been any standards or requirements tied to that. And that refers back to those rural residential development criteria. So these are just some really basic criteria. If you want to build a second or subsequent single-family farm residence, these are some basic requirements that we're suggesting we put in place. Adjacent farm, compatible with adjacent farm operations, outside of wetlands, floodplains, drainage ways, compatible with woodland cover, and then located on an existing parcel of land at least 35 acres with frontage on a public road. So just putting some standards in place, there wasn't any standards
So
before.
how many houses can they build in the AX if I have a parcel like that?
That's an interesting question.
Yes.
And it can vary. They can, if they meet these qualifications, so say there's a farm, and they are interested in building a second farm residence, and then they meet these requirements, they can build another one.
Yeah, because the word that I have questioned is the word subsequent. So that's subsequent. How many? You know, because you say, yeah, but you know, you can build a mini neighborhood there and sell the homes and make a profit.
I
You
know.
what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
You know
and
what I mean?
that wasn't something that we changed.
Because I think
That's in the original code.
I want to understand what is a subsequent single-family farm resident. You know, yeah, it could be a farm resident, look like a farm resident, but how many? You know what I mean? I thought
Wouldn't
there
they
was a
have to
limit.
have the right number of splits in order to do that? I mean, you only get so many development credits per acre of your farmland. So, you know, I know some of them have traded splits across the years, but that's what's going to prevent that from happening, right?
Well, also, farm residence has to be occupied by an owner and operator of the farm or a parent or child. So, I mean, you can't just
define
create
family.
non-related,
Define
can't
family.
relate, you create a non-related
Yeah,
relative community, right?
yeah, define that too.
Yeah,
Probably defined somewhere.
Well,
It is in 4. It's right. It's
I
right
don't
there
know,
in
but
4.
this is the, you know,
yeah,
you can say a parent of a child
or a child
of an owner
or
Okay.
occupier.
or operator of the farm. So those ones have to be. Okay,
And
that
that
one
is
a restriction.
text,
Okay.
yeah, and that is actually text right from the state code.
Okay, but I'm just curious.
I mean, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, certainly you could strike or subsequent
Yes.
if there was some concern about that.
Yeah, because
Until there's a situation where we have 3 family members living on one farm and they want 3 residences. I mean, I you know, is this going to prohibit that from happening and then we'll need an exception, or what happens in that situation?
conditional use.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's, you know, I want to understand how many you can, you know what I mean, because you can have 9 children.
Yeah, but
Same
so it
too.
sounds like they're limited to development credits based on the size of the farm?
Shelley, do you know?
No, of course, I'm looking at Deanna. But if
Yeah.
it's your own,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
this is a gray area
Yeah.
that we need to figure out.
Yeah.
So how the development credits have been used in the past is if you want to build a single-family resident that wasn't related to the farm. It was cutting off another lot, a non-farm. So in the world of farmland preservation, it usually means the credits and those splits usually refer to non-farm residents. So I don't know that this happens. Actually, it hasn't happened since I've been here. So I don't know. I see where the concern is about or subsequent, but I don't think that in the past they've required a split for one of these farm residents. It's considered still a farm residence. It's not selling off acreage, and it's not having a non-farm residence.
So then in this reading, if it's family or an owner-operator, it's every basically 35 acres you could potentially have another, because it has to have a minimum of a 35-acre parcel.
Yeah, it does.
With frontage on a public road.
Where is that?
That's D.
D, 1D.
Where is one? D.
D is.
Okay, located and existing.
Yeah, and that is the purpose of that is more to address. We have a handful of parcels still zoned AX, even though the minimum lot size is 35. There are parcels out there in the rural areas that are smaller than 35 that are just kind of grandfathered and leftover things. And so that's really what that more addresses.
Can we approve this language as written and then put that question back to Ag and Rural on recommendation of, would there be a better way for us to phrase kind of a cap on this or something like that? I don't really feel the need to stall this because I think this is still an improvement and needs to move forward, but they would be who I would want to understand,
Yeah.
Dan, now that I'm looking at it, I think there's an issue because the definition of farm residence is that it's the only residential structure on the farm. So how do we get a second or subsequent one?
Is that one that we added?
We just amended it to take out the 50%.
Mm-hmm.
So but the second or subsequent was not new either, you're saying, right?
No, it was approved before.
Well, more questions than I thought.
Mm-hmm. And that language is nothing that, the language in black is nothing that we changed.
Right.
Did you approve this in Ag and Rural Affairs?
Yep.
We did with a minor change regarding caretakers of horse breeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no discussion about, no concern, or at least nobody noted a concern about the second or subsequent. And now that I'm looking at the farm residence definition, I think there's some issues, but apparently there were issues even beforehand.
Can we recommend an amendment to strike only from that phrase?
I don't know. And the reason that I would say that is because that definition is coming straight out of state law. So I'd have to check. I mean,
Postpone this one for 1 month, with these questions.
it's fine. Yeah.
Can we put the cap ask to, the number of residents cap ask to Ag and Rural Affairs and then see what's possible within this definition for residents?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we cannot act on this tonight and refer back to Ag and Rural Affairs.
You can refer back to Ag and Rural. Mm-hmm.
So I'll recommend that we take no action on this. Let me get the number here.
Is time sensitive this? Is time sensitive this for you?
Not terribly. I mean,
Okay.
we're not
Okay,
cut
no,
up.
that one is
It has to get done sooner than later,
you
but
don't have that. Okay.
So I'll recommend Plan Commission takes no action on ordinance 2026-0-08 and instead refers back to Ag and Rural Affairs Committee with questions outlined.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
So who did the second?
I did. Oh, maybe Gabrielle did.
No, I think.
Oh, Carol did.
I heard 3 of them. It doesn't really matter.
Someone did.
Everybody
Just
seconded
pick
it.
any of the other
Okay.
females.
Yeah, pick a lady.
All are in favor to take ordinance 2026-08 to, no, what is it? Not to take action. and refer back to.
To refer,
Ag
yeah,
and
to
Rural.
take no action and refer back to Ag and
to-
Rural Affairs with
Say
questions.
aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? The motion carry. Okay. Okay, next one is Resolution R-7526, granting an underground electric easement on, I don't know the address because it's a new one, on Water Tower D to Madison Gas and Electric. I assume it's on Lacey Road, but I don't know the correct.
So the new address, well, the correct address is 4974.
49.
Yep. And I guess I need to go back to my agenda. And so pretty standard, there's just the need for an electric utility easement at Water Tower D. So Water Tower D is the big, beautiful tower that's right on 14. And to provide electricity, they have to just have an easement approved. So that's all.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-75-26.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of Resolution R-75-26, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, last one. Resolution R-8426, releasing a public utility easement on Outlot 40 in Terra Besa.
Yep. So this is right on the corner of Parsonett Drive and Lacey Road. So it sometimes we do these public utility easements when we're phasing the development over time, and so this was probably a phase of development, and this was probably a phase of development. So Public Works required a utility easement in this area. And so now it's not needed anymore. Lacey Road's been built through, so this utility easement just isn't needed anymore. So it was a temporary, during construction kind of easement.
Okay.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-84-26.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of Resolution R-8426, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so next we are in item 6 is report from department. Do you, anything that you want to add?
If you want me to just give a couple of comments, staff did interviews with the potential consultants for the comp plan and zoning ordinance updates. We did 4 interviews, really, really good candidates. I think that Fitchburg should be really pleased and proud how great the response was to the RFPs. We have selected one firm to do both the zoning and comp plan. We are, working through some contract negotiations right now, and we're hoping to get the contract out for referral in May. So.
Is this one a local company?
It is not, but I don't, until we get a little farther
Yeah.
into the contract negotiations, I'm not going to say too much, but a Midwest company.
Okay.
Yep, and then May 19th, our next Plan Commission meeting, we are hoping to meet the same third Tuesday, but we're hoping to meet at 5 o'clock if we can get quorum. And the reason is that the Economic Development Team is hoping to do an amendment to the TID district for Jamestown in order to facilitate the development we talked about today and the commercial development.
In the middle.
In the middle, yep. And so in order to make all the stars align, we would like to have Plan Commission meet at 5 o'clock if possible, if we can get
Because
quorum.
at 4 o'clock is going to be the Joint Review Board is going to meet to approve the amendment to TID 17. Then it can Plan Commission, and then at 6 o'clock there is a special meeting of the Common Council to approve. And then what is going to happen, Gabriel and I, because the Plan Commission meeting, they don't last an hour, so we need to know if there is going to be quorum, because Gabriel and I will need to go to the council meeting while Plan Commission will continue the meeting, so we need to have, Stephen, you will need to take care of the meeting while we are out, but we need quorum, because the two of us is going to be out for maybe half an hour. That's it.
So sorry, this is Tuesday, May 19th is what we're talking about at this point, and the court request is to start the normally scheduled meeting instead at 5 and then continue it until it's completed, but the two of you will have to leave for a portion.
Temporarily.
Yeah, temporary for at 6 o'clock.
And I'm assuming 4 is quorum?
Huh? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the, we need to know if there is quorum.
All those who can attend say aye, is that what we're doing? Or?
Raise your hand.
Never mind.
Send an email
Or
to
let us know.
yeah.
Thank you, Carol, you emailed, and Shelley already emailed.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you.
and we
Okay.
got,
I'll be there.
Okay, so, we're fine. Okay.
oh, perfect.
Okay, anything else, Diana, from your report? No?
Not from the planning
And
department.
what about Ag and Rural Affairs Committee?
Nothing more than we discussed.
Okay, and Transportation and Transit Commission report?
We met on April 9th, a couple of things. Our grant, we got a grant for a comprehensive safety action plan in consultation with the MPO. That was kind of on hold with all the uncertainty around federal funding, but that has starting to move forward. It's a $300,000 grant. So we'll hopefully have the contract for that, or the grant agreement soon. We had a long discussion about Richardson Street. It's one of the many wide streets with no sidewalks in our city, and a potential way to paint bike lanes and like a walking lane and road lines to slow traffic and create safer spaces for pedestrians. So it's something we may experiment with. It was just an initial discussion, but we'll continue talking about it. And then Fitzroy Road has been delayed. There's been some difficulty in property acquisitions and some weird legal stuff with the state about building multi-use paths. So anyway, it's delayed, but it is still moving forward. It's just going to be a little bit slower than we thought. That's all.
So it's delayed, so it's not going to start this year?
It will start this year, but it's just pushing it back.
But it's like 2 years now, isn't it? Instead of one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
all. Thanks.
Okay, any other announcement? Okay, so we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting at 9:27, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you. Buenas noches.